Welcome back to iGaming. Today we're going to be going over the day before, ahead of its launch tomorrow on the 7th of December. Now, the game has been shrouded in controversy, but we're not going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about what we know for sure right now and what we can expect from the launch tomorrow. Everything that you need to know about the day before. If this sounds good to you, subscribe to the channel and drop a like on the video. We will be covering it in full when it launches tomorrow. Now, the day before is a open-world, post-apocalyptic survival MMO set in the present day on the US East Coast, following a deadly pandemic that has turned humans into these flesh-eating zombies that look pretty damn gnarly. It is launching in an early access state, which is for a hefty price of $39.99. That is in US dollars, I believe, so that's a hell of a load of money for an early access title. Now, if you do want to check out the Steam page or join their Discord, all of the links that you will need are down below. Now, there is not actually much info about the game out there, but we have the system requirements for PC and a few other little bits and bobs. So the minimum system requirements are an Intel Core i5-8400 or AMD equivalent, 16GB of RAM, a GeForce GTX 1060 or AMD equivalent, and 55GB of available space. An SSD is preferred, but HDD is supported. The recommended settings are Intel Core i7-8700 or AMD equivalent, GeForce 1080 Ti or AMD equivalent, and 55GB of space and SSDs. So you can get that system for a relatively cheap price, and we also have the PC global launch times, which are here. Pretty damn decent launch times, should be able to get some decent time in the evening, so very excited for that. Hopefully it works out well for everybody. Now, when it comes to the gameplay loop, we haven't really seen much footage, so we don't know too much of what it will be. We know the basic gist of it, the PvP aspects of it. I was wrong in a video that I did yesterday, saying it could potentially be a Division-style PvP game, but it is not going to be like that. But the main gameplay loop will be you surviving at all costs, whilst fighting other players, surviving against the deadly zombies, and collecting loot as you go along. Now, whether there's going to be some sort of gear score system, which is how we improve our loot, make things a little bit better, or whether it's loot that we just sell on to Woodbury, there will be several areas around the game which are safe zones and not PvP enabled, such as Woodbury, your own safe zone, places where you can build as well. Now, that is pretty damn cool. I'm excited for the overall aspect of looking after our own log cabin and maintaining it and making it our own home. And as we're exploring the city of New Fortune, we will encounter various enemies such as players and obviously zombies. But the beautiful thing about that is there are a lot of areas around there that we'll be able to enter. So it doesn't seem to be just one big open empty city where we can stroll around the streets. They have said that there's going to be massive malls, stadiums and much more that we'll be able to go in, interact with, have little battles in there and fight off the infected. Another main gameplay loop is rebuilding society. As we've already mentioned, you'll be joining the Woodbury Survivor Colony, and your main mission will be to rebuild society, to do things for the people around you to help improve the community that you're in. As well as that, you will actually have your own safe zone, which you'll be able to customize and tinker with your own cabin. It doesn't really say whether we'll be able to build a cabin or select a sort of preset of a cabin, but it does seem like we're going to be able to decorate the interior of our cabin and make it exactly how we want. Now, weapon customization is also another thing that's available in the game. How detailed it's going to be is yet to be seen, is they're trying to do it as realistic as possible. So we're not going to have all sorts of flamboyant things. Obviously, we should be able to add attachments and things like that, as I mentioned, but they're trying to go with more realistic approaches and not different levels of the same weapon. So I like that idea. Hopefully that works out well, and there are many weapons added to the loot pool. There's also vehicles available in-game, as they've highlighted that quite a bit. That has been one of their main focuses. Rather than gameplay, they have shown us cars driving around, sports cars, Humvees, all of that kind of stuff. Whether those are going to be an absolute crucial part of the game, or whether there's going to be a very easy fast travel system, I don't know. But I'm hoping they do make those vehicles a bit more of a decent part of the game. It looks like we're going to be using them to travel to our own ranch area, or our own ground outside of Fortune City, and hopefully they do tie in and you could potentially have weapons on them. That could make you extremely OP when it does come to the PvP aspects. Seems like overall the game is going to be fully PvP. It has been said that there is an offline mode, so if you do want to play PvE you can. You won't have that threat of other players roaming around. But I found this article which does say that it is mainly PvP, and that is because they want to give players the freedom to act as in a real world apocalypse, which means you can have the freedom to fight other players, help other players, and come together and work as a team, or you can simply shoot people down and take the loot that they have, and it is all your choice. Now, let's be honest, there's going to be a lot of people that shoot before speaking. Yeah, that's going to happen 100%. But like I say, they are those safe zones, and you can play it in offline mode, so you just wander around the city on your own without that fear of other people playing around you. Now, when it comes to the storyline, it does seem like the main storyline is going to be creating that community and building it up. But the developers have said that they are going to pretty much use an open world scenario, and you'll be able to pick any missions that you want, whereas the main story will just be there in the background, but there's plenty of stories branching off from that, which I quite like that, and it definitely gives you more time to mess around and figure things out. Doing side quests always leads to unexpected things and finding things that are off the beaten path. And when it comes to Endgame, it does seem like there's going to be some sort of raid and dungeon system, which will be PvE. Now, as you can see here, if you've watched the last trailer, you probably saw a strange corridor. The corridor is part of a large laboratory complex of the mysterious Azure Initiatives Corporation. In such, general PvE places provide an opportunity for us to show the game in a different light. It'll be like a cold shower after a boiling hot day. For us, game development is an art where we have no limits to our imagination. So they didn't really answer the question, but it does seem like there are going to be certain areas where we're going to be going into it, and it's going to be more mission-based rather than the free roam and PvP aspect-based. Now, when it comes to character customization, it doesn't look like there's all too much to it. Whether there'll be more added than what was in the original trailer, as you can see here, is yet to be seen. Hopefully they add a little bit more, but it seems very basic and just some generic, there you go, make your character, get into the game and have some fun. But some people really like that, others really like to go really in detail with their character creation, but I wouldn't really say that this is the game that necessarily calls for it, as there is a lot of PvP aspects to it. If it was more PvE and single player based, then yeah, it would definitely require a little bit more in terms of character creation. But when it comes to weapon customization, as I mentioned earlier on, hopefully they do add a little bit more to that. As we've seen, and as I mentioned, they want to keep it realistic. Hopefully, though, we do get some awesome mods and weapon attachments and can fine-tune weapons to our own liking. I would very much like that. And overall, though, it's looking pretty good so far. I'm very excited. What do you guys think? Let me know down below in the comments, what are you most excited for? Are you going to be buying it on launch day? As many people commented in the last video, you can just, set your alarm for 1 hour 50 when you start playing, and then smash that refund button just before the 2 hour mark if you're not a fan. But hopefully, it is relatively good. I am holding out a lot of hope. I'm very excited for this one. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap that one up there. Hopefully you've enjoyed, and we will see you tomorrow with some the day before gameplay. If nothing goes tits up between now and the actual launch times. We can all hope. For now though, I've been Wide, you've been awesome, thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.